Hey, look, it's an Impala here on a lot of delivery people today on Smedley. I always think of Tame Impala, which has a song, "The Less I Know, the Better." And during the show last night of the Kipnis, I think I saw an image there for a second through the video portion of the cheerleader from the video, "The Less I Know, the Less I Know, the Better" by Tame Impala, which only if you saw that video would you recognize the cheerleader. The video, it's definitely for a teenage crowd in a manner of speaking, although I didn't post it on Facebook, even though I love the song, because I was surprised that it was a little bit racy. I was a little bit surprised. So, but who knows? I'm sure there's lots of meaning in this video for a lot of people of a certain age and so forth and so on. But I heard of the song only because of a dancer who I think came in fourth on So You Think You Can Dance. His name is Vic White, Vik, and then White. In general, I think he's up in New York, although it seems like he and a bunch of dancers travel around and do videos all over the place. Raised, for the most part, I think, in Las Vegas. I sort of read up on these people to figure out, where do these people come from? But technically, he's Ukrainian-ish or Eastern European or what have you. So anyway, he has a video, a short video, I believe on top of the World Trade Center observation area, tower or whatever. And he labeled it "Dancing in the Sky." He has this awesome, short video performance. Put the music, "The Less I Know, the Better" by Tame Impala. I was really impressed. I was like, so that's where I first learned about that song. So just because the video is so good, and he reminded me of the Peaky Blinders guy, Cillian Murphy, from, England or Scotland, or I'm sure he's Irish or whatever, Cillian Murphy. So I didn't even know Peaky Blinders existed until I did an overnight for someone and saw it on their Roku or Netflix or whatever. And I was like, they had a picture of Cillian Murphy's face. And I was like, oh my God, that reminds me of a friend of mine named Dale. They don't look exactly alike, but it has to do with a whole bunch of factors. A little bit similar likenesses in the face and essence and so forth and so on. And just there's Irish steeped in there somewhere on some folks. And maybe because he played a character that was sort of mafia related-ish. And sometimes people can sort of have a thing and you're like, where do they... Well, technically Dale would be anti-mafia. I think he said he was a prosecutor for all kinds of things, but he shimmied his way up into prosecutor against drug cartels and stuff like that in Miami, Florida, and Jacksonville, Florida, so forth and so on. So Campion, last name. So anyway, that's the dealio there. Speaking of Minnesota, I'm sure there's no drug cartels there. Kidding. So Minneapolis. Oh, there's a tie with royalty between Minneapolis. So here's the conspiracy on Minneapolis and the UK. Prince, the artist formerly known as, he actually died on Queen Elizabeth's birthday, and his compound, Paisley Park, is in Minneapolis. And guess who died during the George Floyd trial, which took place in Minneapolis, but the husband of Queen Elizabeth. So there's some weird, almost seeming tit for tat between Minneapolis and the UK. I'm so not kidding. It's a little too weird. Also, Minneapolis, I know they're on the horn one way or the other because Derek Chauvin, who was accused, of course, of the George Floyd debacle and killing him while keeping his knee on the neck of this guy. His car number, 320, one of the area codes for telephone numbers in Minneapolis is 320. The second car, 352, which happens to be the area code for Gainesville, Florida, where I was for 2.5 years. And the other car number and area code was 330, Akron, Ohio. I guess I think of Dan Aykroyd, but conspiracy theorist central. But and Ghostbusters and all that stuff, and the comedian. But otherwise, what if you're a police officer and your car number correlates with an area code in your area? So say you're in car number 215 or 267 in Philadelphia. Does that mean at any time you could be heavily manipulated, controlled, and puppeted? I'm not here to stand up for what happened. It was very sad. I saw the video once. That was enough for me. I'm very liberal. I felt very sorry for a whole bunch of things were going on there, and they, one guy, we won't get into it. There were a million things going on in that video, including potential gang stalking. So, in a maroon car that pulled up behind George Floyd, and someone was like, we think the maroon car means they left you alone, buddy, in the car for a second. I don't know if he was. I feel like, I don't know how it all unfolded, but there was a maroon car that pulled up behind George Floyd, the vehicle or whatever that he was in with friends at one point, but then people got out and this, that, and the other. And someone thinks that if a maroon car pulls up behind you and say you're not in the best position, you're kind of doing something maybe shouldn't be doing, get the H out, leave the scene, leave the site, anything. That's what someone's theory was. So anyway, I don't know what to say. That's all conspiracy, but it's something to maybe think about. Should you wind up in a situation you're like, wait a minute, this correlates with that correlates with this. Maybe I should move it along and go to another, walk down the street, or whatever your situation you're in. Maybe you should leave the situation. Dimming headlights on coverage on dimming headlights. I'm sure that means something to a few people. So anyway, so who's calling me? So I labeled the video as sort of sounding like the cat from the Kiffness. I'll be stuck on the Kiffness for a day or two here because I went to the show last night. But who's calling me? What's the matter with you? And it sounds like someone with a heavy accent, either Persian or Italian, maybe Russian. I'm picturing like almost a raspy voice-ish situation. Or check out Pumbaa the cat. There's a Pumbaa, not the cat. Pumbaa the caracal, or caracal is, I call it the caracal but a couple people out there have domesticated sort of technically a wild animal as a cat, and Pumbaa often seems to have a bitch, like a biatch, or he's got himself a bitch, So Pumbaa always has his arm around this orange cat. It seems like the orange cat is like taken hostage or can't escape Pumbaa, but they have it all under control. I think they're sort of akin to almost like animal tamers or so forth and so on. Just go in really quick here. That's what I'm told. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I decided to come out because two people who are heavily orchestrated in gangs and are gang stalkers, as far as I'm concerned, were timed with me, and I was told by my satellite in the sky, they're like, go and check your mailbox and then go, because they are showing how orchestrated people are in the city of Philadelphia. It's embarrassing, it's disturbing, and who are they orchestrating around? What's the problem? Just keep going. So I'm told to hurry up and hustle this way. VSS before they can tell me anything different. They love stopping people like, oh. You want to punch them in the face, but they're not going to get Go this way. Go this way or go around? Okay. So I'm supposed to go around here and then go back. Oh, this is what I'm told to do. VSS transportation. Then what? Oh, they have a female driver in here, so who's been on the hard life there, but a lot of people wind up, they did it on purpose. So he's giving her a hard time.
We just don't want to straight to truck. Yeah.
right, so we had to tell that lady driver who might have been set up to pull in here for today's little debacle. A whole bunch of men are going to try to take control and tell her what to do. Women often thrive better if they can work with other people who speak the same language. And often overly controlling bossy contractors just ain't gonna cut it. They have to control everyone. They see someone and make decisions right away. So gave her a little secret shout out, a little bit like, don't even, the big eye roll. This guy's being a dick. These people are telling you to try to park somewhere, and she's gonna have to pull back out, or they're telling her to do something dumb already. That's what I was told. And you can kind of tell that she's got to put up with these asswipes. But lady's gonna get a shout out. So a lot of women out there, they've gotten used to being oppressed and abused by certain types of mentalities. And it's written all over her face. So she had to resort to smoking and all kinds of other stuff just to survive these mentalities or whatever's going on in her world. So it's like a Loretta Lynn story gone bad, right? Stand by, oh man. Oh, look, there's a phone disconnect here. So, gosh. That's what they told me to say. I don't know what it means, but people gotta be, I don't know, save the ladies from the men who gotta get in there and take control all over the place. So I'm still out on the street, and there are some people who got something to say about it because they thought I was supposed to be back in the building being harassed by people who are timed so badly they could wind up in federal prison if they're not careful, because there are people watching and they want to figure out what the problem is. So if you're overly timed and overly orchestrated, you could wind up taking the fall for an entire network and team of people who've been playing a game with dumb intelligence for a long time. Who's going to take the fall? And all the people who've been playing the game for so long, they're willing to set somebody else up to get in trouble. So loud music, and technically you could get like a copyright. It's no big deal if you get a copyright claim. It's almost impossible to live stream throughout a city without music being picked up. It doesn't mark against your YouTube channel in any way, shape, or form. It's only if you get a strike, like if you performed it yourself and didn't give attribution or credit to whoever is the capitalist musician is. She let him have it, right? What can I say? So I got like 5 words all at one time, and it's like, I really didn't. They gave me capitalist, and anyway, we won't get into it. Just say people out there are vying to take control of your vocabulary, right? And what if you wind up with the shortest end of the stick and you have to drive a truck, for God's sake? You know what I mean? As a woman or whatever. Meanwhile, you have these fancy, cousins or step family, or people are working from home all the time, their whole lives, and act as if they own the world, and really they don't know anything because they've never stepped outside of the house. And this would be for people who are perfectly capable and have the money to do other things, but they're still staying at home and being protected. And it's Gainesville. Never once having experienced the world at large. So they still have her backing up and pulling forward, They will keep doing this to be asswives. Is she done? Can she finally... Or they'll make it seem as if she didn't know how to back the truck in the correct way. That's what I'm getting off of this. VSS. There's a guy spitting here, the hunter green guy, left-hand pocket, right. So can you imagine being a female and having to put up with all these jackasses? Right, Sierra England? Should we go over now? Or? Okay, that's what I was told to do. Should I go? All right, so I'm going in now. Sorry, I have to. There's like 5 million